हरिः ओम् श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। ॐ गणानाहं त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पदानश्चिन्वन्नोदिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता वन्दे श्रीगुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ श्रीशङ्कराचार्य स्वामिने नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्।
नमस्ते महोदय। भानुरेखा भगिनी।
सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा कुर्वाणो मद्व्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्।
गुड।
ललिता भगिनी।
चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव।
गुड।
शरद चवन महोदय।
मच्चित्त सर्वदुर्गानि मत्प्रसादात् ऋष्यसि अचेत्त्वमहङ्कारात् न श्रेयोसि विनक्ष्यसि।
न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्ष्यसि।
न श्रोष्यसि विनक्ष्यसि।
विनङ्क्ष्यसि।
Vinangshasi. Oh, it is Vinangshasi.
Yeah.
Should I do it again?
No problem. I'll ask somebody else to read it. No problem.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
लक्ष्मी भगिनी।
मच्चित्तः सर्वदुर्गाणि मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि अथ चेत्त्वमहङ्कारात् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्ष्यसि।
Good.
अनुपमा भगिनी।
यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे मिथ्यैष्य व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोक्ष्यति।
Good.
उषा श्रीनिवासन भगिनी।
स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धस्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुं नेच्छसि यन्मोहात् करिष्यस्य वशोऽपि तत्।
Good.
साई लक्ष्मी भगिनी।
ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां हृद्देशेऽर्जुन तिष्ठति भ्रामयन् सर्वभूतानि यन्त्रारूढानि मायया।
Good.
विजयलक्ष्मी भगिनी।
तमेव शरणं गच्छ सर्वभावेन भारत तत्प्रसादात् परां शान्तिं स्थानं प्राप्स्यसि शाश्वतम्।
Good.
गुरुमूर्ति महोदय।
ज्ञानमाज्ञातुं गुह्यात् गुह्यतरं मया विमृश्यैस्तदशेषेण यदेच्छसि तथा गुरु।
राजलक्ष्मी भगिनी।
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमं वचः परमं वचः।
परमौ वचः।
सर्वगुह्यतमं भूयः शृणु मे परमं वचः इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते इष्टोऽसि मे दृढम् इति ततो சரியா வரலையா
इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्
इष्टोऽसि मे दृढम् इति ततो वक्ष्यामि ते हितम्.
If you say dridam iti, meter will go out of this thing because you're introducing half matra extra.
Okay.
Dridam iti, if you say it will be correct. Dridam iti means it will lose the meter. Ishtosi me dridamiti tato vakshami te hitam. Whereas when you say ishto asi me dridam iti, then the meter will go. It will not be coming properly.
इष्टोऽसि मे दृढमिति. Okay.
Okay, good.
Veena Fanishri Bhagini.
मन्मना भव मद्भक्तः मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि सत्यन्ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे.
Good.
Srimati Bhagini.
नमस्ते महोदय.
Namaste.
सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः.
Good. So yesterday I think I did not dwell much in these two slokas, 65 and 66. Though I had given a very high level meaning which was consistent with the teaching and how the entire thing was folding up, it was okay. But then I realized that there is a need for dwelling on these two slokas much more than whatever we had discussed yesterday. So I thought I'll take again these two slokas for discussion because these two slokas are supposed to be the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And at the high, when you just look at the sloka in the way it is, unless otherwise we try to understand the what is behind all these things, we'll lose the essence of the thing. So once we know the essence of it, tomorrow when you chant it also, you will be able to immediately recall what does it mean. So I thought we may have to dwell on these two slokas very, very in detail, one. And it is also essential that these two slokas become a kind of it should be by hearted. Manmana avava mad bhaktah madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vashi satyam te patijane priyosime sarva dharman parityajya mamekam charanam praja. These two things should be able to be fully, all of you should by heart these two slokas. And now I spend some time in detailing what is the exact meaning, because I realized that Adi Shankaracharya had realized the same problem. And he said he has put in a lot of effort in terms of explaining these two slokas, which he felt that people may lose the crux of the meaning of these two slokas. So I have taken some notes out of the various texts available, and I thought it is essential for me to share with all of you, because these two things are ultimately going to be the crux of the Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavan is just giving the crux of the Bhagavad Gita in these two slokas. Okay. So the sloka number 65 is going to be talking on Karma Yoga, and sloka number 66 is going to be talking on Jnana Yoga. And Bhagavan has very clearly told that Lokesmin Vividanita Pura Prokta Mayanaga Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. He has told that there are only two lifestyles possible. That is, Karma Yoga is one lifestyle, Jnana Yoga is another lifestyle. So Bhagavan is now going to talk extensively in terms of the two lifestyles which are going to be beneficial in terms of moving towards liberation. So first he is taking the Karma Yoga. Okay. So in this particular sloka, what Bhagavan is trying to emphasize is that a person should start leading a God-centered lifestyle. Karma Yoga itself is a God-centered lifestyle. Okay, so the in an active God-centered lifestyle, the individual starts giving. The individual is not going to be doing karma for the sake of only taking, but he starts giving it back to society back to nature. So that itself becomes a kind of a worship. So in an active, God-centered lifestyle, wherein individuals start contributing it back to society, back to nature, and back to creation, is the first stage of life in terms of a spiritual growth. Okay. Then that is going to be karma yoga. So karma yoga, we are all very clear that karma yoga is only a sadhana. Okay, it is not sadhyam. Karma yoga is only a preparatory thing for preparing the mind. Okay, so then what happens after karma yoga? You need to have a withdrawn lifestyle. Okay, a withdrawn lifestyle, which is knowledge-centered lifestyle, is what Bhagavan is going to talk subsequently. Okay, in the next sloka. So, if you look at the religious way of life, okay, Bhagavan says that this is a God-centered religious way of life. He does not say God-centered spiritual way of life. He says that this is a God-centered religious way of life. So, what is a religious way of life? There are two types of ways of life. There are two important things that one need to do. So, the religious way of life will be consisting of one is a prayer, the other one is a study. These two things are very, very essential. So, if you look at prayer, it is essential that after having done so much in terms of learning Bhagavad Gita, we have to identify a specific time every day for prayer. It is essential that if you are able to find time in the morning for a prayer, it's very good. If you are able to do a morning prayer and also is evening prayer, it is very good. So prayer has got to become an essential part of our lifestyle, because we are now looking at lifestyle with the purpose of spiritual growth. And first we are talking about the religious, God-centric lifestyle. We are not going to spiritual at this point in time. So one of the things that religiously is that prayer is required. So prayer, what do? You do some slokas, you do some japas, and then we do nitya karmas like sandhya vandana, etc., etc. All these things are all done as a prayer. We have to ensure that we are allotting a time for that, and that time is going to be exclusively for that. Like when many of us, if you look at many of the people, we would have seen that 8 o'clock, if a serial is there, they are hooked up to TV up to 8:30 p.m. They are hooked up. They feel that this time is my allotted time for TV. 9 o'clock, I need to see Vantage by Palki Sharma in the TV to know the news. We are all allotting our own time. Wherever we are trying to get to that time. Now, when we are now going to become a religious, God-centric people, we have to start allotting some amount of time every day without fail for doing prayer. So that is very important. So prayer consisting of whatever you have been doing, what you have been doing it for so many years. It may be a japa, it may be Vishnu Sahasranama, it may be a Rudrabhisheka, it may be Rudram Chamakam chanting, Gita chanting. All these things you have got to specifically allot a time and do it. That is the first thing. The second thing is that most important thing is a person has got to do study. One is prayer, second thing is study. Study means a Gita study. So whatever now we have been doing, in detail, understanding each one of the slokas, understanding the meaning behind the sloka, and then trying to internalize that, understanding the values, understanding the various principles and tattvam, all these things are study. So chanting, if you do, it is going to come under the category of prayer. Whereas what is required is that Adi Shankara has told that you need to also study. You have to put your effort in understanding what is it. Okay, so he says that you have got to do swa adhyaya. You have to do your own practice. You have to do your own adhyayanam. You have to do your stravanam. So stravanam is also one of the practices. So you have to do all these things. So this is an effort to get Brahmajnana. So Gita is one of the texts that is more than sufficient for getting Brahmajnana. That is the reason why it has been called as Tatsaditi Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Krishnajuna Samvade. So it is a Brahma Vidya. So Brahmajnana can be got from Gita itself. Only thing is that one needs to study Gita in detail. So whatever we have been doing in the last 1 year is that we have been just trying to scratch at the top of the tip of the iceberg to understand how to do a study of Gita and what is there in Gita. But there is a need for having a deeper study of only the script itself. That is going to be essential. So maybe you have to now start allocating time in terms of revisiting each one of the slokas, revisiting the teachings, understanding the thoroughly, understanding and then getting all those kinds of clarifications that we require. That is going to be extremely important. So you need to have a thorough, comprehensive study, not just learning or not just chanting. Okay, those things will classify under prayer. You have, he says that the God-centric life, you need to do adhyayanam, swadhyayanam. Swadhyayana is important. That is study, scriptural study, comprehensive study, understanding the meanings, etc. is very, very important. So prayer and study of Gita is the beginning of religious life, not spiritual life. So prayer and study in detail of Gita is the beginning of religious life. Then what happens is that this kind of study that you do will over time, it is not going to happen tomorrow. Over time, when you do this day in and day out, doing prayer sincerely, and then also trying to understand the scripture like Gita in a thorough manner, and over time, the perspective and outlook will all change in the life. Your outlook of life will change. Your goal of things will change in life because sometimes you're all materialistic oriented, but when you do this over a period of time, your own outlook in terms of life, your own outlook in terms of what is the goal that I need to pursue, what is the purpose of my life, all those things will all start slowly changing. So then you will start understanding the purpose of the life, what it is, and then you will start understanding what is the goal of life that I need to have. It takes time. So you need to start the consistent prayer and study will take you to this. So this is the first stage. Okay. Then with prayer and study, which is going to be compulsory throughout, what happens is that when you do prayer and study, regular practice day in and day out, then God enters into the life of you. You will find that you will always feel that I got a companion in God. That is because you are doing a morning prayer, you are doing Gita study, then you are able to think of Krishna's teaching. Then God enters into the life of the person. Then God becomes an integral part of the person. So what happens is that God becomes a companion. So at that particular point only, a God becomes companion. When a God becomes a companion, you always feel that when you have a companion, what do? You can always share a lot of things. No? You get to that kind of a comfort in terms of offering the rightful prayer, offering the rightful kind of thought process. You feel that there's somebody on whom I can bank on. Your dependence on God starts going up. So soon what happens is that then continuously doing all these things, soon what happens is that the person discovers that God is not only a companion for fulfilling my goals. Otherwise, what do? We always think that God is there for fulfilling my goals. I go to the God with a specific prayer. I want this to be done. I want that to be done. There's a part of that. Now, because of these things, you also made a God as a companion. You understood that. Then finally, over a period of time, you realize that God is not only a companion. God is not only a person that I need to be praying and asking for certain kinds of goals, but God also should be my ultimate goal. Getting into God is my ultimate goal. So God, who was a companion, or God who was somebody sitting in the house and then you are praying to him for fulfilling your desires, slowly it changes that he becomes a good companion that you are able to depend on him whenever you want. From there, you feel that ultimately the goal is not I have to do that, I have to buy this, I have to get to that, I have to increase my portfolio. From that kind of a thought process, you also have, apart from those list of things that you want to accomplish in life, materialistic life, you also feel that God is also another goal that I need to pursue in my life. So you got list out 25 things that you have put. I want to do this. I want to go on a vacation. I want to buy this kind of thing. I want to improve my portfolio to so many $1 million. All those things you have. And then you also now have one more thing that God is also another goal that I need to pursue. So in your list of goals, God also starts appearing. As of now, what happens is God has not been a part of our goal. God is only a kind of resource whom we go and then pray whenever we are in a problem. Artharthi, we have seen 4 types of bhaktas. Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu, Jnani. We are primarily operating at Artha, Artharthi levels only. Jignasu, we have now started. Then becomes Jnani. So what happens is that God, as a thought process that we thought is a resource for us to fulfill our desires, he becomes a companion, and then he has become a goal. And list of goals that you may have, which can be a lot of materialistic goals, etc. In that number 35, you say, I want to pursue God also as a goal. That comes. Then further, you continue to do that. And then what happens is that your interest towards moksha increases. And the God who was appearing as item number 35 in the list of things that you have to pursue as a goal, he slowly moves up and becomes a top 5. top 5, I got this, and also I need to have a pursue this goal. So then what happens is that you continue to do, that is the time jignasu. Jignasu means you are now continuously moving the God towards a higher level of priority in your goal. Then you become a kind of a move, jignasu, you are learning, etc., etc. So every day you have learned Bhagavad Gita, God's position in terms of your expectation keeps going up, going up, going up, going up. So in the list of priorities of 35 things you have to achieve, God was 35th perhaps, and 35th has now moved to say level 10. So out of 10, 9, these 9 things, and then I'm going to pursue God. That is what you're going to do. Then what happens is still further some more time, God becomes the topmost priority. Okay. Then you got the 34. I'm just taking 34, 35 as just like a ballpark figure. Okay. Now the rest of them are coming down. And later you come to a stage and say that there are no other goals except God. Okay. So then what happens is that there are no other goal except God, and I am only going to pursue God. So once you have come to this particular situation that I have got nothing else but I have to only pursue God, then Karma Yoga has done its job. So Karma Yoga, whatever you have been doing Karma Yoga all these days, that has already done a beautiful job on you, and Karma Yoga's purpose for has been fully fulfilled because you have already identified that the topmost priority for me in my life is God. And what is the next thing? Jnana Yoga. So this particular shloka is primarily going to talk about Karma Yoga. Okay, Karma Yoga, and then ensuring that he starts moving up, so that he is going to become a person who is going to be seeking only God. So Karma Yoga's purpose is that changing a person who has been a person who was a materialistic oriented person is then slowly changing his gears to have a prayerful attitude, and then study of the scriptures, and then looking at the priorities of life, identifying the goals of life, identifying God also as the goal, that God's priority goes up, and finally you say that I don't think I have any other goals in my life except that I know to pursue God only. That means Karma Yoga has already done its work very, very well. And the same sloka, then we have to go for next sadhana of this Jnana Yoga. So if you look at that, this sloka, Manmana Bhava Madbhaktaha Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, the same sloka has also come in 934. You would have seen that Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga, the last sloka is also same. We have studied the sloka also. Not same, the slight difference, but the same meaning. I just read that out. The sloka number, you can just note it down. 9th chapter 34. Manmana Bhava Madbhaktaha Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. The first line is same. Mame Vaishyati. Second line, first thing is also same. Yuktvaiva Matmanam Matparayana. So that is what he has told. So he has just put it in different kinds of wordings. But this is also same. Manmana Bhava Madbhaktaha Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Mame Vaishyati Yuktvavam Atmanam Matparayana. Here it is Manmana Bhava Madbhaktaha Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Mame Vaishi Satyam Te Pratijane Priyosime. And there's one more sloka on the 1155, Vishwarupa Darshana. The last sloka was Mat Karma Krit Mat Paramaha. I think I had taken one full class on this Mat Karma Krit with lot of slides, etc. I had taken before we went into Bhakti Yoga. We were talking about what all the kinds of what is that? Sakama karma, Nishkama karma, Upasana, all those things we discussed, remember? So Mat Karma Krit, only with that we started discussing in a very detailed way in one of the, just before beginning the first chapter, and that is also available in the WhatsApp group. I have put it, you will be able to get that. So in the 11th chapter, also the last sloka, you just note it down, 1155, Mat Karma Krin, Mat Paramaha, Mat Bhaktaha Sangha Varjidaha, Nirvayara Sarva Bhuteshu, Yasa Bhameti Pandava. So that is also a similar kind of meaning only Bhagavan has told in that. Okay. So now you have understood that what is the a kind of way where God becomes the topmost priority in our life. So now when you look at it from that perspective of understanding how God has moved into the topmost priority and the goal to be pursued, then you look at it from that perspective, Manmana Bhava, then what? Keep me in your mind. So always be keeping myself in your mind. Then Mad Bhaktaha, always be devoted to me. Madhyaji, do all the kinds of yajna for me. Mam Namaskuru, you do the salutations to me, you do surrender to me. Then with all these things, what happens? Mameva Aishyasi, you will be able to reach me. And Bhagavan says Satyam. I am promising you. Te pratijane. This is a satyam, and I am giving you the promise. Say te pratijane, because priyu asi me, because you are very dear to me. So if you look at it, this sloka, it has to be looked into the perspective of whatever I told you now, that manmana bhava means that the mind has got to be fixed on him, fixed on me. Bhagavan says, fix the mind on me with the understanding that we discussed in the last 10 minutes. Mad bhaktaha, you become devoted to me with the understanding that we talked about now. Madhyaji, you start worshipping me. Mam namaskuru, mame vaishyasi satyam. He says satyam. I don't know why Bhagavan should make a satyam, but he's also giving satyam. He's promising Arjuna, Arjuna, I am promising you. Pratijane, I am giving a promise that this is truth, satyam. Because you are previously me, you are very, very dear to me, I am giving this. So this is the essence of Karma Yoga. I'm sure that all of you will be able to recollect what all things that we discuss in Karma Yoga, primarily with the intention of Chitta Chutti or Atma Chutti. And Bhagavan has beautifully rolled up in this simple sloka. And this sloka has got to be remembered in the mind very well. Manmana bhava madhyaji bam namaskuru mame eshi satyam te pratijane priyosime. So that is what is the important thing about this particular sloka. So you have to continuously nourish the devotion towards Bhagavan. Okay. And another thing is that when you are going to be having a mad bhakta, when you become Bhagavan is the only person whom you are going to be, you are devoted to Bhagavan, then what happens is that you are going to worship the Bhagavan, Madhyaji, you are worshipping him. Then a situation will come, the worship or prayer is not only going to be the time that you are allotting in the morning or evening for prayer, but you will find that the entire day, whatever you are doing itself will become a worship to the Bhagavan. Because your attitude is that I am doing this for the sake of Bhagavan. My responsibility is to do this and this situation because I am supposed to do it. So when you do that with that attitude, whatever you do is going to be a worship, and you are worshipping Bhagavan throughout. Now, if you are going to, if you're a doctor and if you feel that your profession is to take care of the physical pains of patients, and you are doing it with sincerity and love and affection, that this particular person who has come to me, he should not have this pain and he has to have a wellness is going to be there for him. If you have that attitude and with the love and kindness, you try to understand the problem and then resolve the problem, that becomes a worship to Bhagavan because you are doing a kind of great service to them. So then what happens is that converting the entire daily activities itself becomes a form of worship, Madhyaji. So instead of just half an hour sitting and doing prayer, your entire life becomes, entire day becomes, entire activities becomes a kind of a worship. So Mam Namaskuru means what? You do surrender to me. When you do surrender to me, what is the meaning behind that? You may face obstacles in life. There will be a lot of things. Just a few slokas back, we saw the Machitta Sarva Dukkhani Tarishyasi. We saw that one sloka. He says that no, all the Sarva Dukkha, where is that? Machitta Sarvadurgani Mattasada Tarishyasi. You said that all the obstacles, if you are going to be Machitta, when you are going to have your mind fixed on me, Manmana Bhava means Machitta, when you are going to keep everything on me, Sarvadurgani, all kinds of difficulties that you may face or obstacles that you may face, Mat Prasada, with my own blessings and Anugraha, Tarishyasi, you will be able to cross over. So again, we have to understand Mam Namaskuru. Manmana Bhava. Both of them, Bhagavan says that if you are going to be like that, you will be able to be taken care of. Okay. So, Mame Ishi Satyam Te Pratijane Yosime. So, this is what is to be understood from this sloka perspective. And I would request all of you to keep whatever we discuss now in your mind and also by heart this. So, it should just flow out of your mind whenever, even midnight, 4 o'clock, somebody calls you and say, what is this? You'll be able to say, Manmana Bhagavan Bhakta. That is the level to which you'll be able to internalize this and also understand and appreciate the meaning and see how that can become a part of our daily life in terms of how we are going to do. Because this is the ultimate culmination of the Karma Yoga. Because in Karma Yoga, the entire thing is that your entire goal is only Bhagavan. He said there's no other goal in life. That's what this sloka leads to. Now, the next sloka is, this is the Jnana Yoga summary. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarvapabepyaha moksha yishyami masutah. There's a very big The explanation given by Adi Shankara, so I had taken some notes which also I refer to when you're talking about this. If you look at this sloka, nowhere there's a mention of jnana or jnana yoga. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja aham tva sarvapabebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchah. So it is absolute. There's nowhere it is mentioned as jnana yoga. So Adi Shankara felt that this can be, people may not understand it properly. So he had taken a lot of trouble in terms of explaining this sloka, which has been expounded by many of the Acharya Mahatmas who have been giving discussions on this. So I pulled out some details from that to share with you. So in this Jnana Yoga is totally, they are not available. Superficially, when you look at this verse, you will find that renounce all dharma, sarva dharman parityajya. What does it mean? Sarva dharman parityagaha. Give up all dharmas. Renounce all dharmas. What is dharma? Dharmas means values, ethics, virtues, punyas, karma, etc. So literally, the sense is leave all dharmas. That's what Bhagavan has told in this sloka. Whereas in the sloka 4.8, that is in the 4th chapter, sloka number 8, what does Bhagavan says? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushvidam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Bhagavan himself has told, only for establishing dharma, I have taken avatara as Lord Krishna, as Krishna, and then why dharma samsthapanarthaya? Only for taking care of dharma, uplifting dharma, to re-establish dharma, I have taken birth as an avatara. But here he says, sarva dharman parityajya. He says that give up all, renounce all dharmas. So Adi Shankara says this is a very big contradiction. Okay. So, what he is telling that, and he says only when you do that you gain moksha. Okay. And secondly, it also needs to be understood that when you say sarva dharma not only means dharma, but also adharma. It is everything. But we have to understand that when a person has come to this level of trying to understand what Bhagavan is teaching on the 18th chapter on the 66th shloka, I'm sure that they are already very clear. All of us are very clear of what is dharma and what is adharma. And we already have made our own plans of certain adharmas that we have been having as a due to our own lack of understanding, certain adharmic practices we would have had. Now we will be slowly in the course of this 1 year itself, or in the course of our own life experiences, we would have come out of adharmic attitude, adharmic things that we have been doing. Because we are only looking at value systems. So in the case of what Shankara says is that though this is supposed to be dharma and adharma, everything has to be given up. Adharma has already been given up by these people who are in the kind of journey for self-realization. So for them, adharma is not there, they have already given up. That is one of the things that they are doing. So then he is also talking about two confusions. Okay, one confusion is that all the adharmis may feel that, okay, I'll do all kinds of problems, I'll do all kinds of adharmic things. And Bhagavan said that give it up and I am free of guilt. So that is one confusion it might create. Okay. Then the thing is that anything I can do, and then sarva dharman parityajya, I can just give it up. Sarva ishvararpanamastu. Then I think I'm absolved of the problem. That one confusion can come for many of the ajnanis. The second thing is they may only take, they will not learn Gita and all. They'll only take this sloka, like M.K. Stalin or Mr. Udaynithi Stalin only will take this sloka and says that, okay, some mistake has happened, TK. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja. You please, Bhagavan himself has told that, all the kinds of things you give it up. And then mamekam saranam, instead of mamekam Krishna, let him surrender to me. He'll say, me and Stalin, let him surrender. I'll take care of them. That's the way they'll talk. They totally misuse these kinds of things. That is one confusion. The second confusion is that Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, you only surrender to me. When he says only surrender to me, then what happens is that then I am only Ganapati Upasya, I am a Devi Upasya, I am a Hanuman Upasya. So what happens those kinds of people? Should only people be surrendering to Krishna? Only ISKCON people will be only taken care, not other people, because I am a Shiva also, I also worship Shiva. This is the second confusion, and this is also one of the things that Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya felt it has got to be looked into. So let us see how the Jnana Yoga is told very sequentially in this particular sloka. Okay, first para is Sarva Dharman Parityajya. So in this particular case, as I told, it should be Sarva Dharman, means adharma also should be included. But as I told you that adharma will not be there by people because they have already come to this level. and he is already become a dharmic person. Okay, so adharma is removed. So then what is dharma? Dharma is all the punya karmams that we do is dharma. What is a vihita karma is a dharma. What has been ordained to us is a karma, is a dharma. If I am a Kshatriya, I got some dharma to be followed. If I am a Vaishya, I got some dharmas to be followed. So all those kinds of karmas that we have to follow are all dharma. So we also started, as per Shastras, we also known that there are something called Kayika karma, Vachika karma, and Manasa karma. All those things are supposed to be dharma only. So when he says Sarva Dharman Parityacha means you have to give up all these kinds of dharmas, all these kinds of karmas. So how can one renounce all activities? That is another question Shankaracharya has asked. How can one renounce all activities? In sloka number 1811, sloka number 834, the third chapter, fourth sloka, Bhagavan is told, Na kakshi chanamapi jatu tishtatya karmagrate. Even for a minute, we will not be able to remain without doing any kind of karma. Something or other we will be doing. So it is not possible to absolutely sit without doing any karma. Even drinking water is a karma. Even taking care of our own physical activities or having bathing is a karma. So we are all karma bound. So it is not possible to give up many of the karmas. So that is one thing. He has told that it is not possible. That Bhagavan himself has told you cannot give up all the kinds of karmas. Okay. But here the message is Sarva Dharman Parityacha, so people should not misunderstand. So that is what Adi Shankara is trying to explain. Then 1811, sloka number 11, 18th chapter, he says that Nahi deha bruta shakyam tyaktum karmanya sheshatah yastu karma palatyagi satyagi abhidiyate. Deha bruta shakyam. Deha bruta means the one who is living in this particular body. It is not possible for him to tyaktum karman asheshatah. It is not possible for him to give up all kinds of karmas. So no living is possible by giving up all activities completely. You are also supposed to live. So even 5.8 and 5.5, fifth sloka, chapter 8 and 9 also there are some slokas. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyate tattavite pasyam shunman grinnan. It says, no, you are going to be a person who is a eater, who is a walker, who is a sleeper, who is a dreamer. Pasyam shunman grinnan jigdan atnan kachan papan swachan. All those things, you are doing it. But now, what is that we need to do? We have to understand that all the karmas that is being done, because we have to do karma from day in and day out, everything has to be done. Only thing is that all the karmas that you do, you have to understand that Prakute Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvashaha Shari. What is that meaning then? We have studied that in the Guna Karma Vibhaga Yoga also. Whatever is done by the body mind complex and not by Atma. Atma is Akarta, Atma is Abhokta. Bhokta, Abhokta, Akarta. Everything is done Indriyarteshu, Indriyagni. All these things are done by the Indriyas. All these things are done by the body mind complex. And I am an Akarta. So when you are Deha Bhuta, when you do an identification of yourself with the body, then what is that you think? I am the doer, Akarta Aham, Bhokta Aham. So that identification with the body, everybody thinks that I am the Karta, I am the Bhokta. So one of the most important things is when you're going to identify with the body, you become a Deha Brata, identified with the body, and your Ahankara is also going to be there. That I sense that I did this, I am this, etc. So notion of I am the body, I am the mind, it's all there. And one has to very clearly understand that only the Shariram is doing the karma and not the Atma. So now, Karma Tyaga means, what is the Karma Tyaga now? That is Sarva Dharman Parityache, Sarva Karma Tyaga Parityaga. So Karma Tyaga means Deha Abhimana Tyaga. You are supposed to ensure that your Abhimana for Deha should be given up, because Deha is different. Deha is only body mind complex, and the body mind complex is doing this, but my true nature is something different. So Ahankara Tyaga, I have to give up that I sense. I am so and so, I am so and so. Ego has to go away. So Ahankara Tyaga, Deha Abhimana Tyaga, these things are the ones that are extremely important in terms of giving up. So Sarva Dharman Parityacha means that is the Jnanam. What is the Jnanam? The Jnanam means Ahamatma. When you have Ahamatma, then what is that? I am not a Deha Prata. I am not the ego. So giving up ego, giving up Deha Abhimana, are extremely important. So that's what the next step is, giving up Deha Abhimana, Ahankara, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. This is what we need to give up. When you look at this one from chapter 2, sloka number 12 to sloka number 25, extensively talk about that. You have understood. Second chapter, sloka 12 onwards, up to 25, all these understanding that what is Atma, it has been very clearly defined. So this means that we also have to refer to that understanding and drink that understanding when you say that Sarva Dharman Parityajya. We have to understand that also. Then what happens now? In the second chapter of Andal, we understood who am I? What is my Atma Chaitanyam, pure consciousness? We also studied in the recent chapters also. Chaitanyam, consciousness, reflecting medium, body mind complex, all those things we have studied. So now when you have to get a Atma Jnanam, based on this you get Atma Jnanam. Once you get Atma Jnanam, then what happens? Deha Abhimanam will go away. Eka Abhimanam Tyaga, that is Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Deha Abhimana Tyaga. And give him up. Then what happens on giving up Deha Abhimana Tyagam? What happens? You understand that all the karmas are belonging to the body mind complex. It is in no way I am involved in that. So Deha Abhimana Tyaga goes away. When the Deha Abhimana Tyaga goes away, then your own attachment to all the karmas also go away. So you have to look at chapter number 5, 8, chapter 5, sloka 8 and 9 also use these things. So now the three steps that we need to understand are: give up sarva karma, karma tyaga. Karma tyaga means karma tyaga is accompanied by deha abhimanam tyagam, ahankara tyagam. So give up sarva karma. Sarva karma means deha abhimana tyaga, ego ahankara tyaga, and then deha abhimana tyaga, ahankara tyaga will lead to what? Atma jnanam. Only when you give up deha abhimana tyaga and ahankara tyaga, then only you are going to get Atma Jnanam, which is called Jivatma Swarupa Jnanam. Okay, Jivatma Swarupa Jnanam is what one will be able to get. So, Sarva Dharman Parityajya means gaining knowledge of Jivatma Swarupa Jnanam. Okay, first stage is we have to understand that no karma belongs to me. All the karma belongs to the body-mind complex. And then karma belongs to the body-mind complex only. That is Jivatma Swarupa Jnanam. So you are able to have an understanding that Jivatma Swarupa Jnanam has come. The next is that once you have a Jivatma Swarupa Jnanam, you have to go to Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam. Right? You have now come out of Karma Yoga, you have come to Jnana Yoga, then you have got Atma Swarupam, you understood the Atma Swarupam, the Jivatma is Akarta, Abhokta, and then we understood that. Then we understand this Jivatma is not the one attached to this karma, etc. It is not attached to this body, etc. So then what is the Jivatma? Jivatma is nothing but Paramatma. Jivatma and Paramatma are same. Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam. That is Tattvamasi. Aham Brahmasmi. That is the Jnanam. That is what is this important thing. Then what happens that Mameka Sharanam. Next stage is once we are looking at Paramatma Aikyam, then Mameka Sharanam Vraja. He says that you only approach me. You only try to reach me. Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Then when Mam Vraja means approach me or reach me. That is what Bhagavan says. Approaching Lord or Ishvara. Okay, then what are the three things? We had initially talked about Ekarupa Ishvara, where we used to have I worship Ganapati, I worship the Devi, I worship Ayyappa. So we were initially Ekarupa Darshanam. Then we went to Aneka Rupa Darshanam or Vishwarupa Darshanam. Chapter 11, Bhagavan is very beautifully cleared, clarified. And then Bhagavan said that I am the one who is pervading everything, whether it is going to be nature or it is going to be Bhagavan, whatever you are praying, whether it is going to be Rama, Krishna, Govinda, everybody is, Bhagavan says that I am the one. That is, you go from Eka Rupa Darshanam to Aneka Rupa Ishvara, you go to that. Then, what is the highest form of that? Nirguna Parabrahmam. We have studied that also subsequently. Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. We studied that we need to transcend the gunas. So, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. We are beyond that. So, Brahman is Nirgunam. So, Nirguna Parabrahmam. Nirguna Parabrahmam is Brahman. And my Atma is also Swarupam is Nirguna Parabrahmam. So that is the understanding. Mamekam Sharanam Praja means you have got to get into Nirguna Parabrahmam, and then the Jivatma understand that I am the Paramatma, and then the Aikyam takes place. So this is the ultimate Sharanagati. The ultimate Sharanagati is that Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Atma Brahma. So that is what it is all important. So now to understand all these, I'm sure that you would have got a very clear picture of these two slokas, which are extremely important in terms of understanding the entire message of Bhagavad Gita. So now, how do you get this knowledge? Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. These are the only three things. You got to study, study, study. So that is the reason, but in the earlier slokas, we said that in the life cycle, prayer is important, study is important, Adhyayanam is important. We have got to do Swa Adhyayana is important. And in the case of Vedas, they say that Swadhyaya Parvachatecha. You should not only do Swa Adhyayam of everything, but you also should have a capability of giving it back by teaching other people. Swadhyaya Parvachatecha, that's what is important. So now, when it is going to be that it is going to be Savanam, Mananam, Nididhyasnam, that is the only thing by which you will be able to get jnana. And only with that jnana you understand the Jivatma Surupam. And only with the Jivatma Surupam and understand Nirguna Brahman, understanding that Jivatma is also Paramatma, Aikyam, all these things are essential. It's all very, very big topics. And so what is that you require? You require a very, very good guru for that. Only when you have a very good guru, they will be able to help you in terms of understanding all these concepts. And Bhagavan has himself told in the sloka number 434, तद्विद्युक्तनिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्ष्यन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः. He said, no, you have to tadvidhi paripatena. In this chapter 4 itself, he has told about that. You have to identify such guru, go to him, fall at his feet, do all the kinds of sevas to him. You do a shadowing of the person in terms of how he leads the life. Sit with him, understand what he is teaching, have all the kinds of doubts that you have, you raise with him, and then try to learn from him, and then you will be able to understand this jnana. So the Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamegam Sharanam Braja means that all these kinds of things that we discussed about. Okay, Jivatma Aikyam. Then Jivatma Aikyam, then surrendering to God. Surrendering to God means again getting into a guru and getting this Savanam and Nididhyasana and getting all these things fully understood. Once that stage takes place, what happens? The person is able to fully get this knowledge and is able to also have the knowledge of Aikyam. Bhagavan says, then Bhagavan's job is nothing because you are already Aikyavayaji. Then he says, Aham Tvam Sarva Pavepyaha Mokshayishyami. Then he says that you will be getting rid of all your kinds of sins. And I'll ensure that you are going to get liberated. Mokshayishyami Ma Shucha. Don't worry. So, first, second chapter, Sloka 11, Ashochar Anva Shochastum Prajnavadanscha Vasase. Gata Suna Gata Suncha Nana Shochanti Panditaha. He said that there's nobody grieves for these kinds of things. For what is going to happen to the body, somebody dying as well, they will not. Panditaha will never get worried. So now he says of all these things, now again says that Aham Tva Sarva Bhavepya Moksha Ishyami Ma Shuchaha. Do not grieve. So he has now completed the Bhagavad Gita with this particular sloka. Okay. So I would say request that is 65 or 66. Try to ensure that you are able to once again assimilate the meaning by your mananam in the evening. Think about it, and then still, if you have doubt, we can also discuss it tomorrow and close this. So this is what I thought I should have done this yesterday, but I think yesterday I was slightly I was trying to look at it from the perspective of completing a class by tomorrow by anyhow. So I just I think went slightly faster. Perhaps I also missed some of these discussions that was very essential, which I just collected yesterday and then thought I should share with you because having done this for 10 months, the crux of that is these two slokas. So with that, I think we'll go to today's class. Okay.
Sharada Rajan Bagini.
Idante Natapaskaya.
Idante Natapaskaya. Idante Natapaskaya.
Na Bhaktaya Kathachana.
Na Bhaktaya Kadachana. Na Bhaktaya Kadachana.
Idante Natapaskaya. Na Bhaktaya Kathachana.
Idante Natapaskaya. Na Bhaktaya Kadachana. idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana.
Good.
Sri Lakshmi Bhagini.
न च शुश्रूषवे वाच्यम्
न च शुश्रूषवे वाच्यं न च शुश्रूषवे वाच्यं
न च मां योऽभ्यसूयति
न च मां योऽभ्यसूयति न च मां योऽभ्यसूयति
इदं ते नातपस्काय नाभक्ताय कदाचन न चाशुशूषवे वाच्यं न च मायोऽभ्यसूयति
इदं ते नातपस्काय नाभक्ताय कदाचन न चाशुश्रूषवे वाच्यं न च मां योऽभ्यसूयति.
Good. Next.
Lalita Bhagini.
Full sloka, please.
Yes, sir. Idan te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha sushrusha vachyam na cha ma yobhyasuyati.
Good. One more person.
Lakshmi Bhagini.
idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrushave vachyam na cha mayobhyasuyati.
Good. So Bhagavan has completed per se Gita teaching with the previous sloka. Now he is just giving some kind of a closing remarks. Okay, teaching is over. Some closing remarks he is just making to Arjuna. He says that this teaching that I have given you, idam, to idam means this teaching. Te, whatever I have told you, you should not give this teaching to people na tapaskaya, the people na atapaskaya. Okay. Do not give it to those people who are not disciplined. Okay. What is discipline? They should have a religious discipline. Okay. At least they should know that there is a God, there is something beyond us, nothing is in our hand. We have to have a belief in God. We have to have a belief in Sanatana Dharma. There are certain values which are there. So at least they should have that basic understanding that there is a discipline required. So that is a discipline. Tapas is discipline. So religious, the person should have a religious discipline. Then the person should also have the next discipline that he has to have is bhakti. You should have a kind of a bhakti, devotion to God. Maybe the bhakti that we were talking half an hour back is not the one we are talking about. Just bhakti. Morning, we have to get up and then do some small prayer and thank God that everything is fine as of yesterday. And pray to God that everything should go off well because we know that Gita Karma Palatata, I don't know what is in store for me 1 hour from now. I don't know what is going to happen to me next second. So everything is there in his hand. So that bhakti should be cultivated in the person. So a person should have a religious orientation. One, the person should also have a kind of a bhakti. That is supposed to be what is called as another discipline. Na tapaskaya, na adam Sushusha. Sushusha means, if you look at that way, it is serving people. No, Sushusha is always serving people. Even in your medical thing also, we have the term Sushusha. Sushusha means serving. But the reason why we say Sushusha in Vedic terms is that you do a kind of seva with a very, very clear understanding that I am going to get something in return from them. I will do tadvidhi pranibhatena pariprashtena senaya means I will go and do service to a jnani in an ashram with the intention that he is going to provide me the kind of knowledge which is going to be very, very valuable for me. So Sushushava is to demonstrate that I have got a very deep interest in studying something. So my thing is that I need to learn something from you. So for learning something from you, I am doing this kind of service. So Sushusha means primarily doing a service with the objective of getting something back from them. Okay, so in this particular case, the person should also have a deep desire for studying. So Nayacha Ashushave means in case the person is not having a deep desire for learning Gita and does not have a discipline, what we talked about, Kayena Vacha Manasa, no discipline, neither a Bhakta, na Bhakta, he is not a Bhakta, he is not having a desire also, Then and another thing is that abhyasuyati, the person also asuyati means what? He is a person who is criticizing Bhagavan. There are a lot of people, atheists and all, who will be criticizing people. So if he is a person who is going to be criticizing me, or a person who is not interested in listening to it, or not trying to know me or do a deep study, that does not have any kind of religious kind of a discipline and not having any devotion, please do not take or waste your time in getting this knowledge. If you find that you are going to have some audience where some people are there only to come and criticize, okay, abhyasuyati, if they are going to go some come and give some criticism of all these kinds of things and say what is Bhagavan, who told Bhagavad Gita is a great literature, if those kinds of people are going to be there, please avoid them, stay away from them. So Bhagavan is now telling that do not give this knowledge to anybody who is not having a discipline, who is not having a devotion, who is not having a deep desire for study, and who is having a kind of deep criticism. The person is criticizing your thing. Mom, not only criticizing Vedas, but the person also criticizes me. He goes to extent of criticizing me, which means that he is criticizing everything. So for these kinds of people, even though you may be a learned pandit, stay away from them. Do not give this knowledge. Okay. So idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kathachana nacha shushave vacham nachama yobhya suyati. Next.
Vijayalakshmi Bhagini.
Yaimam paramam guhyam.
Yaimam paramam guhyam. Yaimam paramam guhyam.
Madbhakteshvabidasyati.
Madbhakteshvabidasyati. Madbhakteshvabidasyati.
Yaimam paramam guhyam. Madbhakteshvabidasyati.
Yaimam paramam guhyam. Madbhakteshvabidasyati. Yaimam paramam guhyam. Madbhakteshvabidasyati.
Good. Next.
Sharat Chavan Mahodaya.
Bhaktim mayi param krutva.
Bhaktim maya param krutva.
Bhaktim mayi param krutva.
Bhaktim mayi param krutva.
Once again.
Bhaktim mayi param krutva.
Mame vaisyasya samshayah.
Mame vaishyatya samshaya. Bhakti maya param krutva. Mame vaishyatya samshaya.
Samshayah.
Bhakti mayi param krutva. Mame vaishyatya samshaya.
Good.
Anupama Bhagini.
Yaimam paramam guhyam madbhakteshvabidasyati. Bhaktim mayi param krutva mame vaisyasya samshayah.
Yaimam paramam guhyam madbhakteshvabhidhasyati. Bhaktim mayi parang kritva mame vaishyatya samshayah.
Good. Next.
Rajalakshmi Bhagini.
Yaimam paramam guhyam madbhakteshvabidasyati. Bhaktim mayi parang kritva mame vaishyasya samshayah.
Okay. So Bhagavan in the 68, 69, 70, 71, in these four slokas, Bhagavan is praising the teachers of Bhagavad Gita and the students of Bhagavad Gita. In 68 and 69, Bhagavan is recognizing the teacher of Bhagavad Gita. Whoever is teaching Bhagavad Gita to your audience, he is appreciating them. What does he say? Yaimam paramam guhyam. This particular supreme secretive knowledge, Yaimam paramam guhyam, Madbhakteshu, among my devotees, Abhidasyati, whoever is providing that, whoever is teaching that, then bhaktim mai param kritva, those who are highly devoted to me, those kinds of people, param bhaktim, those people will definitely mame eshyasi. They will be reaching me only. There's no doubt in this. Here he talks about all the Gita acharyas, whoever is teaching Gita in different schools and different places, etc. He says that the teachers of Gitas are very, very dear to me. I am extremely happy with the teachers because I took an avatara in this particular world only to ensure that Dharma is established. Dharma is nothing but Veda. Veda is nothing but the tradition that we need to follow. So Dharma and Veda, everything was to be established by me. So I had to come down at that point in time as an avatara to establish that. So my responsibility is to ensure that this Veda is all perpetually managed, is sustained, and there are people who will be able to manage this by spreading it across everybody. And those people who are taking effort in terms of teaching Bhagavad Gita, those people are very, very dear to me. That's what he's telling them. So he says that this is my job that I have come now as avatara, but anybody who is doing that in terms of providing this wisdom and then continuing with the tradition and then preserving this tradition and the propagation of the Sanatana Dharma among people, those kinds of people are very dear to me. So what is very important is that the teacher of Gita should also have very good qualifications in terms of showing what is the kind of life that needs to be led. It should not happen that somebody talks something in the class, he has to walk the talk. So there are a lot of things that Bhagavan has told in some of the other values. At least from teacher's perspective, he says that they have to have karunyam, they have to have an understanding of the student's mind, they have to teach them properly, they have to, samshayam is there, they have to explain them properly, and then even if they are having any kind of questions which are not properly answered, one should not lose his temper, they should not get arrogant. So these are all very, very important, and that is the way Bhagavan has shown to Arjuna, with so much amount of patience, with so much amount of karunyam and dakshanyam, waiting for whatever he is asking Arjuna. He does not get irritated and say, "You are a Buddhu, I cannot be wasting my time here, I have to get back to Dwaraka." He didn't do that. He says that it is my responsibility, and then he did that. So he says that every Gita Acharya should be doing all these kinds of things, and that is very, very essential that they will be able to take care of his devotees, are all people who want to learn Gita. And if you have studied Gita, please take responsibility of teaching Gita to other people. And once you start teaching Gita to other people, you become very, very, very dear to me. And then you'll be able to continuously teaching that, you'll be able to get jnanam, and then you'll get param jnanam, you'll be able to get. When you get the supreme knowledge, then what happens is that is the knowledge of me, then ultimately you will be able to reach me alone. Our Jiva Atma Aikya will take place for those people who are putting these kinds of effort, because I will also be blessing them because they are very dear to me. So he is now first appreciating the teachers of Bhagavad Gita, and he says that they are very, very dear to me. Next sloka, please. We'll take one more sloka, and today I'll stop his teachers.
Usha Srinivasan Bagini.
न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु
न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु
कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः
कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः
न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः
न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः.
Next.
Srimati Bagini.
भविता न च मे तस्माद्
भविता न च मे तस्माद् भविता न च मे तस्माद्
अन्यः प्रियतरो भुवि
अन्यः प्रियतरो भुवि अन्यः प्रियतरो भुवि
भविता न च मे तस्माद् अन्यः प्रियतरो भुवि
भविता न च मे तस्माद् अन्यः प्रियतरो भुवि भविता न च मे तस्माद् अन्यः प्रियतरो भुवि.
Good. Next.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
न च तस्मान् मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः भविता न च मे तस्माद् अन्यः प्रियतरो भुवि.
न च तस्मान्मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः भविता न च मे तस्मात् अन्यप्रियतरो भुवि.
Good. So what Bhagavan says in this sloka is that he has already praised the Gita Acharya. Now he says that among the people, I like those people, so dear to me is these people. Among people, Manusheshu Tasmat, nobody else can be more dearer to them than this Gita Acharya. That's the first line's meaning. Nachame Tasmat Manusheshu Kashin me Priyakrittamaha. The people who are taking Gita on behalf of me and teaching. Arjuna, I am only teaching to you, one-on-one teaching I am doing. But this teaching has to go to everybody. So if somebody is putting the effort and taking this teaching to everybody, and those people are the ones whom I like. So thus Manusheshu Kachin me Priyakrittamaha. They are very, very happy. I am very dear to them. And Bhavita Anachame Tasma Anya Petro Bhavi. And when I like these kinds of people, it is very difficult to get somebody else also like that. It is find people who are going to be very dear to me, like these Gita teachers. So he says that there cannot be anybody else beyond this who is going to be dear to me. So anybody who is taking to teaching of Gita, he says that they are going to be very, very dear to me. Among all the people, they are very dear to me. And it is very difficult to find anybody who is going to get dearer to me other than any of these kinds of good teachers of Gita. That is what we see, just praising the Gita teachers. And so the message that Bhagavan leaves in the 69th sloka is that if somebody has studied up to 69 slokas now, he should think that now I have learned the Bhagavad Gita, I have to find somebody to whom I will start sharing this knowledge. I have to now start, putting my own effort in terms of Savana Mana Nidhyasana, understand the Gita, identify 3 or 4 or 5, 10 people amongst your own circles, and then you say that I am going to make an attempt, and then start teaching this Bhagavad Gita, whatever I have learned, and then you have to now start taking care of doing that. So Bhagavan says that I want you people who have gone through this particular study of Bhagavad Gita in detail, once again continue with your studies. He said that, Gita, we started studying this 66th sloka. He said, prayer and study, both of them are important in terms of karma yoga and having the understanding to prepare the mind for jnana yoga. So I think now it is essential that every one of you should take the mantle of understanding this in much detail and then starting to have some more people to whom you are going to impart the knowledge. So that is what Bhagavan says, that these people are very, very dear to me. There's very difficult to find anybody other than these people who are going to be dear to me, and I'll take care of them. I'll ensure that they'll be able to be gaining higher jnanas, etc. Based on this process, they'll be getting jnanam, and with this jnanam, they'll be able to mame vaishyasi, they'll be able to reach me. So that is the way he is now praising the acharyas of Gita. And tomorrow he is going to be, don't think that he is not teaching the students, praising the students of Gita. Tomorrow he will praise the students of Gita. All of you are students of Gita at this point in time in terms of studying Gita. So tomorrow he'll exclusively praise you also, and then he'll wind it up. Okay. With this, we'll close for today's class. Manmana bhava mad bhaktah madhyaji man namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyante pratijane priyosi me sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyah mokshayishyami ma shuchah itam tena tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana न च शुश्रूषवे वाच्यं न च मां योऽभ्यसूयति यहिमं परमं गुह्यं मद्भक्तेष्वभिधास्यति भक्तिं मयि परां कृत्वा मामे वैष्यत्य संशयः न च तस्मान्मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकृत्तमः भविता न च मे तस्माद् अन्यः प्रियतरो भुवि. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः.